Now, when it comes to flipping in heels, explain what flipping in heels is and the importance of that in the community.
Yeah, so Flippin' in Heels is an online community for women real estate investors. And we do events in person, both online and offline. It came about because I was just like, I was looking for that woman, right? I was like, where is she? Who is the Black female real estate investor who's out here absolutely killing it, that I can look up to, that I can call a mentor, that I can say, like, this is how she did it. And I couldn't find her. I couldn't find her. And so, I created this community to support and highlight and educate more women, but to highlight more of her wherever she was, right? And then to help encourage women, who are also looking for that.
You are now listening to the Your First Steps podcast. It's great to talk about $1 million dreams, but where do we start? How do we get there? Listen up as you hear directly from real estate industry leaders on how they reach success in their fields. And most importantly, what were their first steps? Let's get this party started. Here's your host, Eli the Real Estate Guy.
All right, hey, how's it going, guys? Thank y'all so much for tuning into another episode of the Your First Steps podcast. Like always, we have a very, very special guest today. She is a broker, investor, entrepreneur, and the founder of Flipping in Heels. We have Miss Rashauna Scott. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing good. Thank you so much for coming on. And, this is something that I've been looking forward to. I've been following your page for quite some time. And I know I first actually heard about you on Clubhouse. And this was some time back when we were on there. And we did some real estate rooms. And you asked whenever it came to real estate and Chicago investing, you answered a lot of questions on that. And I did more so of like the wholesale items, but it's good to finally have you on. But for the people that don't know who you are, go ahead and introduce yourself to the few folks who may not know.
All right. Well, I am Rashauna Scott. I am born and raised on the south side of Chicago. I am an Illinois licensed real estate broker. I run a team of full service real estate agents, residential, commercial, real estate brokers. We're all investors as well. So I'm also an investor, real estate investor. As you mentioned, I am the founder of Flippin' in Heels, which is an online community for women investing in real estate.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's a little bit about me, all things real estate.
There you go. Awesome. So now, of course, we see where you are now, but a lot of times whenever it comes to investors getting to a certain point, it usually starts early in their childhood. So take us back to what it was like growing up as a child, and then lead us up to where you are now. So what was it like growing up in your household?
So my household was always busy. So I'm one of 7. So it was always busy, 2-parent household. And it was good. Growing up was good. My mother was in education. And so education was very important in my family. And other than that, it was just never a dull moment. That's for sure, because there was always someone at home. It was always something to do. Me and my older brother, we were very close. We're close in age. He's only 2 years older than I am. But he was the only boy for a very, very long time.
Goodness.
But he and I would hang out a lot and fight a lot. Right. But yeah. So growing up at home, like I said, it was definitely never a dull moment. With at the time, it was with 5 siblings at home, and then I was the youngest one until about 9, and then my little brother was born.
There
So,
you
but I
go.
was the baby for about 9 years.
Gotcha. All right. So growing up, were you introduced to real estate as a kid, or was this something that came about later on?
So it was definitely something that came about later on. My memories of real estate as a kid is just like moving around a lot. Like we moved around a lot. So open houses and things like that. I definitely took an interest in just looking at properties through that. But it wasn't until I was in high school and I was working at my first job, and I was a cashier. And there was a gentleman who would come in often. He was a regular, and I would check him out through my line. And he was talking to me about like how he owned properties and things like that. He was telling me about this book that he would give all of his tenants, and his goal is for his tenants to someday become homeowners. And so next time he came into the shop in the store, he brought the book for me. So the book, as many of you know and have heard of, was Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I was probably about 17 at the time. And I definitely read it front to back. And I knew that I was going to be like some type of boss one day. I thought I was just going to be like a manager, or, I was going to be running something. I knew that. Right. As the youngest one in the family, I was the baby boss.
There you go.
Always trying to keep
boss.
up.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, always trying to keep up with like my siblings and my older sisters. My mother even said that I came in this world grown. But I feel like it was probably that whole, hey, I'm the youngest syndrome, so let me try to outshine, or even just keep up, right? And so that authority, just I carry that with me, as I got older. And like I said, I knew that I just knew that I wanted to just continue working hard and growing to the highest level of whatever my career was going to be. And again, at that time, I thought it would be like a manager or general manager. And then I got introduced.
That pivot happened.
Yeah. I got introduced to the idea of financial freedom and entrepreneurship around the same time that he gave me the book. There was a guy that came to my high school also and did a career day, and he was a manager at AT&T. And he said, even though I'm a manager at AT&T, I don't depend on him to provide for me and my family. He also owned 400 vending machines across the city of Chicago. And he explained the process of, what it's like, to fill them up, and then when they get emptied, and how much he makes and the whole process. And so he was just talking about how job security is an oxymoron, even at that time, which was like 2007, 2008. And he was just saying how, again, he just didn't depend on a job. And then that's when I started to, like I said, I read the book, and now I'm getting introduced to terms like financial literacy or financial freedom, and generational wealth or residual income, right? Like these terms that were just foreign to me. But yeah, that was when it all started. And like I said, I read the book, and then I knew that I was like, okay, so I know I'm going to be successful, or I want to be successful some way, somehow. After reading the book, I was like, okay, real estate is going to be the way. And then I had a girlfriend who also in high school, her dad, we were on a dance team together, and her dad, I remember he doing something in real estate. And I remember asking him like, hey, can you, teach me about like what this is all about? And I asked him, and then we sat down at the library one day, and he literally broke it down to me on like what's the difference between an agent and an investor. And that was where it all started from there. At 19, I started my first business. I built up a business line of credit. Okay.
Real quick. So the person that you was speaking to get the real estate information from. So what did he do in real estate?
So he was, I want to say he was a loan officer, or they called it something different back in the day. Like back when, all you had to do was fog a mirror to get a loan. But they called it something different. But in so many words, he was like, he was doing loans. I don't know if he was like brokering loans or, but he was definitely familiar with just the real estate world.
Gotcha. So he basically he broke it down to you from there, and just gave you an idea of basically where to start, or was it this is what real estate is about now with this information, spread your wings?
Yeah, it was more so the latter, I would say. Because his instruction was to like start the business, build the credit. But then there was a lot that I still had to navigate and figure out. So like I went and got my real estate license, and I went and joined a real estate investing club. And then was where I learned, a lot more. So he was definitely a good foundation, like a good starting point.
Gotcha. So you started off as an investor first, and then you became an agent?
So I had the investor's mindset, and I had myself set up as an investor, but I didn't have any money to invest.
Right.
So then I was like, okay, well, let me at least get my license, because, that it seems like it would be easier for me to just get my feet wet in real estate.
All right. And so you got your, so what was your first transaction, your real estate transaction, when you got into real estate, and how did that come about?
Yeah, so I was a mentee under a friend of mine who I went to church with. She was a very successful agent here. And I told her, I was like, I think I want to get my license. And so I did. I went ahead and got my leasing license. And so in Illinois, there's 3 types of licenses. There's a license, and then a broker, and then a managing broker. And in some states, they just call it like a salesperson's license. And so in order to just only work with landlords and tenants, it's a much shorter time frame in terms of getting a license, taking the test, passing the class, that whole thing. So yeah, so my first transaction was a rental, and I did rentals for about a year. But I was also working full time, and I was in school full time. So I was doing real estate rentals on the side. So I was definitely hustling.
Gotcha.
But awesome. Yeah, I also realized, like, in only doing leasing, I was like, I don't make a lot of money. I don't make the amount of money that, for the time that you put out.
So what was that moment? Because I was actually talking to a friend of mine earlier today, speaking about going from whether it's wholesaling to flipping to being a landlord with the single family. And then as you're doing your thing with these single families, you're looking over at the commercial side where there's apartments or whatever it is. And you're realizing, like, okay, there's a lot more money to be made with these bigger projects. And you have the basics of real estate in terms of like renovation, knowing how to manage projects, knowing how to do these things. And yes, it's slightly different on the other end, but what made you make that transition from that the leasing side to saying, okay, like you're saying, I'm not making enough money. What exposed you to, okay, this is a lot more, and what was your path when you went that route?
You know what? I think it was just when you look at it, right? So I was also at a company, I was at a brokerage who had a lot of fees too, at the time. And so some months I felt like I didn't even make money, right? But I still had to pay those fees. So I was like, it just wasn't adding up, and it just wasn't making sense.
Right.
And I just continued to search. Like, my heart and my desire was on the investing side of real estate. And so I was continuing to search, and I was online. I think I was on Craigslist, and I found a real estate program that was kind of like pretty much like a guru program here in the Chicagoland area. And then I joined them, and I did that for 2 years. And that was a matter of like, that was a whole program around investing education. And so that helped me become more well-versed in investing and investments. And then shortly after there, I'd invested into my first deal.
Gotcha. All right. And so you continued, and you were killing the game. Everybody's talking about you. They're saying that you're doing your thing. Now, when it comes to Flipping in Hills, explain what Flipping in Hills is, and the importance of that in the community.
Yeah, so Flippin and Heels is an online community for women real estate investors. And we do events in person, both online and offline. It came about because I was just like, I was looking for that woman, right? I was like, where is she? Who is the Black female real estate investor who's out here absolutely killing it, that I can look up to, that I can call a mentor, that I can say, like, this is how she did it. And I couldn't find her. I couldn't find her. And so I created this community to support and highlight and educate more women, but to highlight more of her wherever she was, right? And then to help encourage women, who are also looking for that. And then it just, turned into what it is today. But that was really what it was. It was like, I had a desire for investing in real estate. And anytime that I would sit in these rooms and workshops and conferences, there was not a lot of representation of a successful Black woman in real estate who was absolutely killing it. But now, thankfully, to social media, I'm connected with women from all over the country who are absolutely killing it in real estate. But before, it's just like, who is she and where is she? And then creating a community for women to tap in with and say, like, hey, this is what I want to do, and I actually need support for that.
Yeah. So what are some difficulties that you found when it came to being a woman in real estate? What are some of the challenges that people may not know about? Because obviously I wouldn't know, but what are some things to where it's like, hey, I actually went through this. This is some hurdles that I had to actually get through so I could actually, be where I'm at now.
On the investing side or on the agent side?
On both sides. So this real estate in general. Let's go with investing.
All right. So on the investing side, I would say one of my biggest hurdles was definitely just partnerships, going through partnerships, different individuals, different people, not having the right paperwork in order for those partnerships as well. Sometimes not having the proper expectations. But I would say the biggest thing was the paperwork.
Gotcha. So would you say that there was any specific hurdles as a woman going in, or was it just not knowing certain things that need to happen?
Yeah, it was definitely the not knowing. I wouldn't even say the whole woman thing. And people, I think that's definitely a question that comes up if it's a specific interview about like being a woman in real estate, or even being Black in real estate, or being a Black woman in real estate. And I really don't. I don't have too many instances where it's like, oh, because I'm Black, or oh, because I'm a woman, right? But what I realized early on was that people will respect you and give you the respect that you demand and that you command at the level of where your confidence is, right? And so, and your confidence increases as your knowledge does. And so when you're like, hey, I know my stuff, you're like, I belong here.
Exactly.
And so being young, that was something that I had to really work up, right? And build within myself, because mind you, I was in these rooms when I was 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So, of course I'm like, oh, I'm a young Black girl. And oftentimes the only young Black girl in the room. And so of course, I would deal with that, like, oh, feeling of like, oh, she doesn't know anything. And it was in cases where I definitely didn't know anything. But I would also let that curiosity fuel me. Like, yeah, it's maybe I don't know anything, right? But I'm here to learn. I'm here to ask questions. I'm here to find out and figure it out. I would say my curiosity definitely helped lead to my success, because I guess from being the youngest one, right? And always wanting to keep up with folks and being nosy, like I asked a lot of questions. So to answer your question, no, I don't think there was too many times where I'm like, oh, because I'm a woman, or oh, because I'm Black, or a young Black woman. But I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter once you know, have the confidence and the knowledge, you know, that you have, like, to be, you know, in certain rooms.
Gotcha.
And then obviously too, the other thing is that, you know, once you get that a skill set, right? Or once you get experience, like, that's a whole nother level of knowledge and confidence. And so some of that won't come until you actually do start taking action.
Gotcha. I love it. And so, and I feel like that was important for you to express it just the way that you did, because I do feel like there are still people that have the limiting belief of, oh, well, they're not going to allow me to get to a certain level of success. And it's not a matter of they, it's you. If you are confident in what you're doing and you know, if you know your stuff, and if you don't know your stuff, learn. And you'll be surprised at how many people are actually willing to just give you the information. And like I was saying before, just hearing you and a lot of other individuals on Clubhouse, a lot of folks are willing to just literally go on. I'm not charging anything for like an hour on Tuesdays. Ask away, whatever you got, because I know when I first started in real estate, there wasn't a lot of platforms that you can go to actually get information. Yeah, you can Google. Yeah, you can go on YouTube and get specific things. But it just seemed like it was such a huge gap between everyday people to the information. But now it's just a matter of you go on Instagram and people talking about real estate all up and down the timeline. This person got a course, that person got it. Like everybody is talking about it's just such a wealth of information now. So I absolutely love it. So now going into Keller Williams the Chicago office. So explain what that is and how that came about.
Yes. So I am one of the proud broker owners of Keller Williams One Chicago South Side.
Nice.
Very excited to be launching this new venture. Long story short, I was running my team at a smaller company, boutique. Well, no, they weren't really boutique, but they're local to the Chicagoland area. And I was ready for a change. And I was actually considering opening my own office. I do have my managing broker's license. So I can open my own office if I choose. But I also was at a point where I was like, I was trying to open my office, but it just wasn't working. It just was not coming to fruition. And then I was like, you know what, I need to fast about this because I couldn't figure it out. And so I'm a believer. And so I was like, you know what, I woke up and I was like doing my devotions one morning and I was like, you know what, I need to fast. And I did a 3-day fast. And at the end of the first day, I got all the signs to go to Keller Williams. Now I was already having conversations with them and I had already turned them down. And like I said, then I was trying to do my own thing and then it wasn't happening. I was like, why not? And then, like I said, I was seeking for that clarity and then those answers. And then, like I said, I just got like signs that was pointing me in that direction. So yeah, circle back, in the conversation of me coming over, I just expressed how important it was for me to have an office, right, in the communities that I serve. And having been born and raised on the south side of Chicago, my entire family is on the south side of Chicago, still lives on the south side or in the south suburbs. Like I am a true south sider, like till I die, right? True south side till I die. And so with that, and the south side of Chicago is huge, right? Like there's so many great neighborhoods and great areas. I mean, yeah, you have the ups and the bads and you have the downs, in any area, right? In any corner of the country. But there's a lot of opportunity and there's a lot of development. There's a lot of positive. There's just a lot of great things. And there weren't too many major real estate companies that have representation on the south side of Chicago. And that's why that was also, important to me. So very grateful for the opportunity to be invited to be a part of, and I would say invited and accepted to be a part of, this team. So I have 3 other partners who are also launching the office with me. Yeah, we're very excited about that, to be servicing our community, buyers, sellers, and investors. I mean, I'm already in these streets,
There
but
you
but
go. Right.
the offices that I'm currently out of are on the other side of town. And I think that's
Gotcha.
the thing too, like as a lot of realtors, you have a lot of companies now too that are even virtual offices. Like they don't even have offices. Like realtors, we work wherever our laptop is, right? So I
Exactly.
can work from home, I can work from the car, I can work from the coffee shop. Like, I mean, think about the pandemic. Like we went through a whole global pandemic, never going into the office, but thriving in business, right? Not going into the office. But so yeah, so there's a lot of companies that have converted to like 100% virtual offices. But if I'm going to be going into an office that I want to call home, I want it to be, on my side of town.
Gotcha. I love it. All right. And so now as an investor, Chicago it always comes up whenever you're talking about real estate investing and potential. But why should somebody invest in the South Side right now?
So I would say Chicago in general. So, third largest city in the country. Very metropolitan, fast growing, right? We have a lot of headquarters here. We have a lot of the big companies here. We have a great pulse on the city here. And in Chicago, I believe you get the best of both worlds. You get the city living, the downtown living, you get the, something's always going on. You get that. We have a beach here, right? A lot of people don't know we have a beach. So we have, huge Lake Michigan, a beach. We have like the boat life here, only for a couple months out of the year, but we'll take it. I mean, and we do get the cold too, believe it or not. Some people love the cold. So, I mean, we get that too. Like you get truly, all 4 seasons here, but then also you have the post and the infrastructure of, constant development, the job economy, thriving, and values too, right? So values play a big part in that. And the overall conversation about values and home values, it's just been very weird in the past couple of years, right? I mean, we've seen, what has happened with rates going down and what that did to the market, rates going up, what that did to the market. And now rates are, kind of trickling back down, but then this market is still kind of, but overall, it's a good economy. It's a good economy. And the price point still makes sense for what the rents amounts are. Gotcha. And I'll say that's also why the whole why Chicago too, as opposed to your, the coast, right? Your East Coast, your West Coast, like, price points are high, very high, but the rental income doesn't necessarily make sense. So there's a saying that says cash flows best in the Midwest, right? So investing in the Midwest. So, and it's not just Chicago, it can be Chicago, Detroit, Ohio, St. Louis, right? Where you're getting in and you're still able to buy low, but rents make sense for actually, cash flow.
Gotcha. I love it. And so with an agent that may be hearing this and they're like, you know what, I love the direction that you're going in. I love the energy and I love the information that you're providing, and they want to actually join your team. What are some of the qualifications that someone would need to actually, be a part of what you guys are building?
So we are taking mostly, I mean, for the actual office, we'll take... Come on, right? Like we're taking on agents, because the great thing about Keller Williams is they have the #1 real estate training for real estate agents in the world. So we can take a brand new agent and train them up to, a top producing mega agent. So I thought you were asking like specifically my team, the Rashauna Scott team.
Yeah.
Which,
well, yeah, let's go there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be more intricate. It's definitely gonna be I ideally want somebody who already has experience in real estate and has closed, a couple of transactions. But it's really going to, I'm huge on personality, energy, and things like that. So it's going to be a couple of sit downs on like if this is a good fit. But I would say overall, just somebody who is experienced and knows what they're doing. And then we can have a conversation, from there. Obviously you got to have the hunger, the desire, the drive. I want somebody that's full time. Ideally not somebody that, is doing this, part-time or whatnot. The thing that I hear a lot is some people get their license because they like, oh, they thought it was going to be easy. I'm like, who lied to you? Who told you that? Like, this is not an easy business. This is a job. Like, being a realtor is a job. Like, if nobody ever told you, let me tell you, it is a job. So it's something that you want to be committed to doing. It is a career, right? It's not just something that you do on the side and you do well, right? Like you have to be like, yeah, you could do it on the side, right? And you can sell one house a year if that's what you want to do. But by the time you sell one house a year, by the time you pay the fees, like, what did you really make?
Exactly. So if somebody wanted to come and actually get a hold of you and send their resume to you and try to apply for the team, where will they go to get the information to you?
Yeah, so they can find me on all social media platforms at Rashauna Scott. Just reach out and I get them in the right direction. I don't have an actual site yet for bringing on agents. We do have, not for my team, because again, I'm just very, very, very particular about my team. But I actually have something set up for individuals who are looking to join the office. We do have something, a channel for them to go. But yeah, they just reach out. We can definitely get them in touch. And then also too, I do want to say that they don't have to be in Chicago. So Keller Williams is an international company. And so there are Keller Williams offices all around the world. So if there's anybody that's looking to join the KW family, depending on where they are located, I might consider actually doing an expansion to wherever they're located. And then we can possibly, partner in some aspects of that. So like my brand, I'm considering Florida, Atlanta, Houston, DMV, New York, because I do have a great network, in those areas. So we'll see what happens.
Gotcha. Good deal. All right. And so now this is a part of the podcast where we discuss 3 books that you would recommend for people that are interested in getting into real estate or entrepreneurship in general, specializing in real estate. What books would you recommend for these individuals to read?
So I already talked about one, right? Rich Dad Poor Dad. The other one, I would definitely say for anybody that's looking to get into real estate and scale as an agent and grow a team, absolutely Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller. They lay out the system, the model and the system of what it takes to become a millionaire real estate agent. And that is netting $1 million commission, in a year. So Millionaire Real Estate Agent, that's the red book by Gary Keller. We call it the Bible of Real Estate. And then I would also recommend, so this is not necessarily a real estate book, but more so a mindset and business book. I absolutely love 12-Week Year because sometimes I have been known to be a procrastinator, and 12-Week Year, it talks about getting rid of annualized thinking and segmenting your goals into 12 weeks and being able to, there's actually proven studies that increase productivity and show individuals becoming very successful and getting more things accomplished when they get rid of, the whole this year, I'm going to do X versus this quarter, right? So this quarter, I'm going to do X, right? And breaking that down and making sure you have those quarterly goals and then, and taking some time off and then moving on to the next quarter.
I like that. And you don't know the author of that, do you? I could just look it up.
Not off the top, but you'll see it. It's in, the words are in red. It's like red and white.
Okay,
12-week year.
All right, awesome. All right, cool. So now we get to the lightning round, to where I ask a few different questions, and they're not going to be too crazy, but it's just a matter of just seeing what your thought process is on different things and getting your perspective. So, number one, if you were to invest in any other state besides Illinois, what state would it be? And specifically multifamily, and why?
That's a great question. You know what? It would definitely be the Midwest, right? Because again, the cash flows best in the Midwest. It would probably be somewhere between maybe like Tennessee or Missouri or Ohio. Yeah.
You gotta
maybe
pick
Michigan.
one. You gotta pick
Oh,
one.
one.
One and why?
Dang. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna say Missouri because my best friend lives there and
Okay.
she is killing it in real estate. So
Mhm.
she'd be the my go-to for that.
Gotcha. All right. So number two, if you had 30 seconds to speak to your 18-year-old self, what would you say?
Oh, okay. 30 seconds. In 30
Uh-huh.
seconds, I would say buy the condo.
All right.
Yeah. Or buy something.
Gotcha.
Just buy
Okay.
something, right?
Gotcha. All right.
At 26, I had the opportunity to buy a property that I should have, but I was scared. And so anyway, but yeah, so buy something, right? Or buy multi-unit, whatever, figure it out. It would probably be some type of relationship advice.
Gotcha. Okay, we'll keep that. We'll keep that separate. So, but you'll make sure she's on the right path. All right. So, and number three. So, before I ask, are you into baseball? Baseball at all? Are you into baseball?
Am I into baseball?
Yes.
I mean, I go to the games.
Kind of. Okay, got you. So
Yeah,
my question
I've been
is,
invited to a couple of boxes, a couple of suites.
Gotcha. Okay.
I pull up for the snack cart, the dessert cart.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask. Okay, well, I'll ask another question after this. So, Cubs or Black Sox?
First of all, it's White Sox.
White Sox. Whoa, what? What?
First of all,
clearly, I don't watch baseball. I thought it was Black Sox. I don't know what's going on. White Sox.
The Chicago White Sox.
White Sox. I'm tripping.
And what's so funny is that's basically if you for any Chicagoan that you ask, that's pretty much for asking, are you North Side or South Sider?
Gotcha. Yeah. And okay. So let me actually. So as I was doing some. So I was actually typing this in, and I knew it was one of them, and I actually just typed in Black Sox, but I kept seeing
Black Hawks.
I did.
It's hockey.
I mixed it up, and that's where that happened. But I typed in Black Sox, and I saw a baseball team, and I'm like, oh, that's clearly them. And I kept seeing like what happened to the Black Sox, some type of conspiracy, I'm like, did something just happen to the Sox? And I'm like, okay, well, something happened. Maybe that'll come up. But apparently, I'm going to look deeper into these Black Sox. I'll tell you a little bit about what happened. So apparently, there is a Black Sox owner of this Black Sox team, and he was known for being so frugal that he didn't allow them to wash their jerseys as often as they should. And so they actually end up getting the nickname Black Sox because they were known as being the team with the dirty jerseys. And so I'm like, I had never heard of this before. And so that's why I'm like, okay, clear, this must be them. I was wrong. We're going to pretend like that didn't happen.
Not just say, okay, this is Chicago. This sounds like Chicago. No.
All right, so we'll act like that didn't just happen. All right, and the next question is, as far as the GOAT, greatest of all time, you being from Chicago, I feel like I know what your answer is going to be, but who is the greatest basketball player of all time, LeBron or Jordan?
Yeah, I gotta. You know what? That's a debate that I have never entered into, and I've never really cared to. I enjoy basketball. I watch basketball, but I'm not, a huge, So I don't even want to say one because I don't want no smoke because I really don't care.
Right. Gotcha.
I mean, they're both amazing.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take that. Awesome. Hey, thank you
so
much.
But of course, I'm, just put on for the home team. Of course, I'm gonna say MJ because he's from Chicago. However, LeBron has his stats too.
Gotcha. Okay. That's the most political. Hey, I love it. I'll take it. But thank you so much for doing the podcast. I really appreciate you coming on. So for anyone that wants to get a hold of you, what is the best method of reaching out to you and just seeing what you got going on?
Yes. So I'm at Rashauna Scott everywhere. And you can also find me at Flippin and Heels. So all the links are in my bio on anything that I have going on, coming up, any events. I did not mention for Flippin' Hills, we do have a women's membership that you can join at any time. We're actually running a sale right now for Black History Month. So you can check that out on Instagram. And then at Rashauna Scott, if you're looking to buy or sell in the Chicagoland area, my team and I would love to help. And again, as I mentioned, all of the links are in the bio in regards to connecting with us.
Gotcha. All right. Awesome. Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.
All right. No doubt.
Thank you for listening to the Your First Steps podcast. Let us know what you thought about this episode by leaving a review. And don't forget to subscribe.